Sarah from Average Betty here, and I'm talking tips for better soups, stews, and chilies. Flavor is key when it comes to any kind of food, but simmering a soup or stew means that the flavors will meld together and intensify. And no one wants to intensify bland or bad flavors. Here's a tip I learned from my grandmother. Next time you have a rind of cheese, like Parmesan, toss it into your soup. As it melts, it'll add viscosity and flavor. When you're making chili, try a variety of chili powders instead of just the big can of blended chili powder. Dried spices and herbs don't necessarily go bad, but like most things, they lose their potency over time. If your dry spices are older than your children, this could be a good cue to replace. You know when you taste something that makes you sit up and wiggle in your seat? That's the sensation of umami, or the fifth taste. Umami! Try adding a little soy sauce in place of the salt. This will help achieve that umami or meaty, mouth-watering sensation. What about thickening soups that are too thin? Try adding a mashed potato or a can of tomato paste. You can also make a slurry, which should not be confused with the blended candy milkshake. Speaking of thick, creamy soups, when you're blending soups, be sure to open the steam valve on top of your blender and only fill it up about halfway. Otherwise, you could end up with soup all over your ceiling. I have experience with this. What about making more nutritious soups, stews, and chilies? I add greens like spinach, cabbage, kale, escarole. This works especially well for creamy blended soups because even the most discerning picky eaters won't know there's greens in there. I make a black bean soup that's loaded with veggies, but I'm the only one that knows they're in there. Bean up! Beans and legumes are high in protein, fiber, rich in iron and magnesium, and B vitamins, like folic acid. If your soup or stew calls for cooked rice or pasta, consider leaving these items out until you're ready to serve. That way, you don't end up with bloated pasta or rice masquerading as risotto in your soup. Those are my tips for making better soups, stews, and chilies. I'm wondering if you can say that 3 times fast. And I'm also wondering what your tips for soups, stews, and chilies are. You can also find my favorite soup, stew, and chili recipes at averagebetty.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time.